everybody. Welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. We are on episode 29, and today we're going to talk about Studio 666. Woo! We decided to pick this movie because we really love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think it gets enough attention and love.
Agreed.
So we're bringing it to the peeps.
Yeah.
That's
And
how we
it's
roll.
kind of surprising to me, like, as popular and well known as Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters are, that this movie didn't get more love.
Yeah.
You know? But maybe there's not a lot of crossover between Foo Fighters fans and horror fans. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't
weird.
know. This movie, I'm gonna give you the synopsis.
Yes.
That's what we're calling it, is the synopsis. And what that means is it's a synopsis, but half-assed. So, this movie is based partially off of a true story. And that true story is that the Foo Fighters were going to go record an album, their 10th album, in this old house. And the house it did weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Their guitars would go out of tune, things would go missing, a bunch of weird stuff would happen in there. So they decided to make a movie about it.
Okay.
And that was back in 2019, by the way. So they had some time,
right?
You know, with the pandemics and such.
Yes.
So they made this movie,
right? And
it's fun. So the movie, as I said, it is based off of that story. So the guys, you know, they're
struggling to
they're struggling
to write an album.
And their manager is kind of a douche, and he really pushing it, as most people know music industry is like that.
Mm-hmm.
The manager is like, hey, I've got the perfect house for you to go and record in. And they're like, sweet, let's go.
Right.
So they go to this house and they set up after Dave finds the perfect acoustics for it. And ultimately, this shit hits the fan.
It does. Once again, this house is not what it seems, ladies and gentlemen.
It never is it?
Of course, as in most horror movies, it's hiding a dark secret. The dark secret is, of course, that another band many years prior called Dream Widow, a fictional band, had also moved into this house to record an album. However, there was already some evil going on in the house, and one of the members got possessed and killed the rest of the band.
Yeah. That person that they show in the beginning, more spoilers, by the way, is Jenna Ortega.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we didn't put those two together a while ago, but that's because we didn't know her as well. I mean, she's obviously gotten more popular and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until we watched it here recently.
That's
because
what I'm saying.
When we first saw it, I didn't really know who she was, but then after that, of course, came Wednesday and the Screams that she's been in. So now I was like, okay, I know what she looks like.
So they continue on, like, okay, everybody croaks, that first band. And then the Foo Fighters move in, unaware of what that backstory was.
Right.
Because the Backstreet's back.
All right. Immediately, bad things start to happen.
Yeah. They do. To Mr. Kerry King.
Yeah.
Who is... Yeah, well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He plays their roadie in this, which of course is hilarious.
Yes.
If you know who Slayer is, you'll know who Kerry King is. Yada, yada, yada. So yeah, he gets electrocuted. And that's when we get introduced to how amazing the gore is going to be in this movie. It is phenomenal. He is fried to a crisp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's our start of this. Mm-hmm. And then things just gradually get worse. And Dave goes out for a walk one night, and there was like this weird little crypty kind of room, is like a maintenance room or something. Mm. And in there, he discovers there's a reel-to-reel in there, and he starts playing this. And I have to say, despite the fact that this band, Dream Widow, is fictional, this song that they use in this, first of all, Dave did write it.
Right.
But this song is so good.
It is really good.
I really wish this was a real band.
That's some pretty good doom riffing they got going on in that.
It's phenomenal.
when he's in that room, doesn't like some smoke fly up into him or something like that?
Yeah.
So he's where he's getting possessed.
Inhales something, and I think it was because he was dicking around with some stuff in there, and don't dick around.
That's right. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. So, the band is, they're trying to work on this album, but Dave's getting a little, possessed. And he's just becoming kind of a dick. And it's because he was dicking around.
That's true.
And one of the best scenes in this portion of it is he's written this song after he's had this major writer's block. And let's just mention the writer's block situation, though. So he sits down in front of his laptop one night, and he's looking up some YouTube videos on how to get out of writer's block.
Yeah.
And who appears?
Yeah, Bob Balch, the guitarist from Fu Manchu, who I was like, that was driving me crazy because I knew I recognized him and couldn't figure out who it was, so we had to look it up.
Yeah. It was pretty comical because he also had a Fu Manchu shirt on, so the hint was there.
Right, exactly. Like, duh.
Yeah.
I felt stupid after that one, but
Hey, whatever. He comes out of his funk because the demons have taken over, and he goes to do a solo in front of the guys, and it's like some serious solo action. It's much better than Kerry King's solos. The reason for that is because it's Steve Vai's hands. If you don't know who Steve Vai is, he is a famous guitarist and phenomenal. And the backstory behind that one is that Steve Vai happened to live just up the street from the house that they were filming at, and Dave knew that he was not good at doing all these crazy solos. And so he calls up Steve Vai, and Steve Vai's like, sure. So Steve Vai comes up and plays this. So they just hone in on his hands during this portion of it. But Dave Grohl's face making some hilarious guitar faces.
Yeah, excellent guitar faces during that part.
Oh my gosh. He was definitely making fun of him. And Dave Grohl really doesn't make a lot of guitar faces because he's always chewing gum.
Right. And he has to sing as well.
No, that too, yeah. And he's not doing a bunch of solos.
Right.
I feel like that's when the guitar faces come out.
Yeah, for the most part.
Or a dead stare, as I've noticed before, too. That's weird.
Yeah. My guitar teacher had that dead stare when he soloed.
Yeah. I knew it. I knew somebody else who might watch this that also did it, and it drove me nuts. Because I'm like, could you stop staring at me while you do that? Yeah. It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's creepy. These have to be the most creative death scenes I have seen in a very long time. Every single one of the members of the band ultimately croaks, aside from Dave Grohl.
Right.
And each one dies in such a humorous way that I just couldn't stop laughing at it. There's a couple other cameos in this that we want to talk about. One of them is the amazing John Carpenter.
The God.
Yes. Some of you may or may not know this, but John Carpenter did write a lot of the music for his movies originally. So he's always been a composer. And this was his time to shine once again, where he played the theme song to this movie.
Yeah, it's instantly recognizable.
Not only did they actually write the score, or not the score, but the theme song for it, but they also were in the movie,
right?
Which was funny. And he was just like an engineer, like a music engineer. It wasn't, he didn't have to do anything crazy or anything like that. He's old, grumpy. So, but it was still fantastic to see him in this movie because obviously it was a nod to horror fans and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Another nod that I thought of just now is, there is a book of evil essentially that's in this. Did you think it looked like the Necronomicon?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Clearly a nod because both books made out of the pages are made out of human skin. They even mentioned that in Studio 666.
Yeah.
So clearly it was meant to be an homage to Evil Dead.
Yeah.
For sure.
I thought that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying is that, John Carpenter's appearance in this book, it is it's a love letter to horror.
Oh yeah, for sure, with some added bonus for music fans as well.
Yes, yeah. You don't have to be a music fan to love this
no,
movie. It stands on its own,
absolutely.
But it's definitely, it brings a little bit more cheer to it when
it's icing on the cake if you know who these people are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because there are some famous comedians in there. And there's other cameos. I don't want to give everything away, but and that's what I think makes this such a fun movie, is that you do have humor in this, a lot of humor. Mm-hmm. So don't go in thinking it's going to be a serious movie, because it's not.
Oh yeah.
And that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
Because the band has a great sense of humor. Mm-hmm. They always have. And so I think that definitely helps.
Oh yeah.
With the atmosphere of this movie. But on top of that, it has an amazing, amounts of gore. Mm-hmm. And it has actually a really good storyline.
Yeah, the plot's, pretty standard, but well executed.
I think a lot of people have missed out on this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it does have to do with, it's going to be a Dave Grohl thing or a Foo Fighters music video or something like that. It's not the case.
Yeah, I honestly feel like it would appeal to metal fans more than it would to Foo Fighters fans. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are some metal fans that like Foo Fighters. I mean, I like Foo Fighters' first 2 albums, but I think that's maybe where the disconnect is to an extent.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's just a great movie.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The director for this was B.J. McDonnell, and he directed Hatchet 3.
Right.
But he also directed
Slayer's Repentless Trilogy.
Yeah.
It's like music videos strung together with like movie sequences.
Yeah.
I've never seen it actually, but
the cover of it looks horrible, by the way. It looks like a bad rap album that gets sold on the street corner. So yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of how this all got tied together, because the music world and Carrie King being in there and all that stuff. So it all kind of wrapped up together, but he did a great job with this.
Oh yeah, it's an awesome movie. It's a really fun movie. Put it that way.
And we couldn't stop laughing the entire time. Every single time, no matter how many times we've seen this, it's still fantastic. It holds up. Now, I will say, though, that when I first wanted to go see this in the theater, you were a little hesitant.
I was a little bit hesitant because I was like, how good is this really going to be? Because I didn't know much about it, and I was just like, it's just, are Foo Fighters just making this because they're bored or something? How good?
They probably were. They were probably pretty bored.
How good is it really going to be? But actually, it turns out it's a really fun movie, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. And we did purchase it as soon as it came out. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it came out just a few months after Taylor Hawkins' passing.
Right.
So I think that kind of, I don't know, put a little bit of doom on it, and it didn't get its popularity through sales as much as it should have.
Right.
But how I felt about it was that I still want to support the band.
Oh yeah.
And let them know that we do like it. Mm-hmm. And it was a very hard time for them, obviously. So I'm still going to support them either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't need financial support by any means.
No.
But emotional support, everybody needs.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was pretty amazing, though. All in all, this is like a good package deal.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're a fan of gore, you're gonna love it. I can't emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
There's so much blood and guts and puke and everything.
And in spite of it having, obviously it had a pretty decent budget when you look at the effects.
Yeah.
But yet it still has kind of like a B-movie low budget feel to it, I think, at the same time.
It didn't do amazing in the box office, by the way. It didn't just blow up, but I never would anticipate that it would.
Right.
It probably does better on streaming. Mm-hmm. And it is streaming possibly on Amazon.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it. On Prime.
So, seek it out, man.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Or go buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And watch the bloopers.
Yes.
Because bloopers are always good. I don't think I've ever been angry at a blooper in my life.
No.
So Anyway, I think that's it really with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a really fun movie that gets slept on for whatever reason, but check it out. Throw out your expectations.
Yeah.
And check it out because it's well worth seeing.
Open your mind, dude.
That's right. Whoa.
Whoa. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.